Hi watch friends, your favorite crew is back. Today we've got a great conversation. Come join us. Hello friends.
Hey.
I've missed you.
Good morning.
Missed you.
This is our first video of 2025. I know, it's been
a little while. Yeah.
Had a baby, but now we're back. And it's time to talk all about some watch predictions.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah, there is. I mean, we'll get to that in just a second because I'm noticing something on your wrist and I would love to do our first wrist check of the year. What are you wearing, Justin?
I got a Breitling today, older aerospace, titanium, two-tone. It's the anti-digi, but also it's got the extra little watch
which is also water resistant to 100 meters, just like the big watch.
I love it. I mean, it's funky, it's cool,
I love it.
Yes.
The weirder the better.
It's divisive, I'm sure.
Home run on
but
the weird.
it's absolutely something, whether you like it or don't, you don't see it very often.
It's cool. It's also pretty light.
Massive
it is very
points.
light. Yeah. What do you guys got on?
It is. What are you wearing?
Got on the vintage Daytona 6265.
Wow.
Yeah, on the Jubilee.
On a Jubilee, sir.
Yeah.
Quite the option.
Yeah.
It's really fun. You guys want to
about-
see,
Oh.
can this catch your eye? I've got on a Patek Calatrava. This thing has 162
Blinding.
diamonds adorned not just on the case, but also on the buckle.
It's the buckle that,
Yeah,
in
the
my
buckle's
opinion,
Yeah.
is arguably
Yes.
more impressive than the case.
Yeah.
I'm rocking
Details matter.
Yeah, over 5.5 carats on
You
this.
want to see a Tiffany stamp?
I was
on
gonna
there, too?
say,
Yeah.
there's one other detail if I can get to it. Brayden pulled this out. It's a co-signed dial. Oh,
Yeah.
Tiffany & Co. So
That one's pretty.
Anyway, she's gorgeous. What do you got on, Rip?
Got on a Omega Seamaster 300, but the green one. So I guess the green version of the Bond, which I really like this one.
I do too.
Not having those red accents on it that can be found amongst the others, it kind of not makes it dressier, but gives it a much more monochromatic color scheme. I really like this one. It's a muted green.
It's a good color. I'm a
piece,
sucker
yeah.
for green. That's a good color.
That green is good.
It
Yeah,
is.
the green's nice.
Really fun. So this is what we're
Nice
wearing. Please chime in. What are you guys wearing while watching? We've missed your wrist checks, so everybody has to at least check in and let us know what are you wearing. Okay, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we are talking predictions. Watches and Wonders is on the horizon. 2025, will this be an exciting year? Will this be a little underwhelming? We are talking focused on Rolex, but maybe we'll have a casual conversation about some other brands while we get in here. So I want to kick this off. What do we think from a trend perspective are we going to see this year? There's a lot to talk about. I have some ideas, but I'm curious, what are you guys bringing to the table?
Like industry-wide trends, I think just more dressier, resplendent, higher priced pieces, more precious metals. Lots of reasons for that. You know, people who are more prone to buy luxury watches. If you were gonna buy a $40,000 solid gold watch, regardless of economic uncertainty, you're probably okay to buy a watch, you know? And on top of that as well, you know, there's something to be said about having an X number of steel tool watches, but then you can always collect more nice, pretty things. So I could see someone sort of tapping out with their steel sports watches. They have a couple subs, a GMT, a Daytona, and then say, well, what now? You know, so more gold stuff, more pretty things, more ornate, kind of unconventional designs. But I can see kind of a resurgence of dress watches, and with that coming precious metals and intricate artisanal craft work.
Especially with Rolex. I feel like that's very...
Well, in the 1908, they have this dress watch platform now. It's perfectly, regardless of
We're
what
waiting to see what they can do there, so that would kind of make some sense.
Yeah, and you know, now they have a platinum one from last year. They gave it some guilloche, so it's getting dressier and nicer, whether that's, you know, diamonds in it or something, or some maybe additional complications. But there's some anniversaries for Rolex coming up, so that could also set the tone for it.
I think on the note of dressier, I was maybe leaning more towards hopeful. I would love to see sort of a tap back to the Tridor. Obviously on the day-day, I love a day-day. You're talking precious metals. I mean, these are all of them. I loved it. I would love to see a fresh approach to that.
That would be really, really nice.
Kind of
I don't expect it, but I would absolutely welcome it.
These are predictions. It's a little bit of a crystal ball, but also a little bit of heart in what I would want.
I don't know how much about Rolex. Definitely other brands. Vintage is still, you know, it's all the vintage nods, the heritage. You know, it's been popular for, it's absolutely not new, but it's still popular, and you know, brands are still going that direction and leaning into it. So I would expect to see more of that. I like it. That one's, you know, we've talked before plenty of times how it can go either way. Sometimes it's just like a, you know, copy of an old watch and it's all, you know, relic in it. Or it's just those features and those design elements are kind of incorporated into the new piece, and those are the ones that I really like, right? When they take a little bit of vintage nod, they take a little bit of the styling, merge it with something new.
Where do you think they could go with it?
Well, there's always dial colors, there's The faux patina isn't my favorite, but things like that, where they like the faux rivet bracelets, you know, they do that. I'm just thinking more of like, just styles, like a vintage something that hasn't really been in the limelight or really been popular, kind of bring it back, but modernize it and make it a little better.
You had said a little bit about Sertis.
I did, so yeah, I would like to see a Serti sub come back.
Yeah.
Again, I think it probably falls in the category that I don't know that I'm necessarily expecting it or, you know, putting my money in Vegas down on it, but at some point they will. Some point Rolex will do another Serti sub or Serti GMT or both.
Could you imagine them getting into some different gems for it? Instead of what we've seen.
That's what I
Absolutely.
miss most about the previous generation. In the 5-digit era, you know, the Serti GMTs had diamonds for the circular stones and rubies, and the subs had the blue sapphires. And I love that for the collections. And then when we moved on to ceramic bezels, it lost that. We just had diamonds, and they had the luminous markers so you could be functional or whatever. But bring back the colored gemstones. I thought it was a really fun, weird little twist, you know.
Yes.
It was like, oh, it's red, it's blue, oh, look at that, you know.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, there are the diamond dial subs, right? There's the white, gold, the blue, you know. Those are great, but like Ripley says, I want the gemstones, I want the, you know, the...
Wouldn't the green and black GMT
Yes,
with like
I was thinking green would
some,
be
like,
a
put some green
fantastic
stones
option
there,
for the
yeah, it would look
GMT.
awesome.
Now we're talking.
And then give it like a silver dial too to make it really pop and you could see
Right.
him better. It looks
fun.
strikingly different, you know,
Yeah.
but maybe that's my off-catalog wish list.
Rolex will do it sometime. I just, you know,
When?
probably not this year, but
Yeah.
sometime they will. I'd like to see it.
Speaking of the sub, I was thinking they should bring back the 369 to really give a vintage
Ooh.
nod. I don't think that would happen, but that would be pretty wild.
I could see Tudor getting into that more
They
because they
did
do
it.
play into it with like the Black Bay bronze, but I could
Right.
see them doing more of a core collection offering that really kind of more hits the mill sub mark,
Yeah.
or maybe in the Pelagos collection or something like that. Oh, 369 Pelagos
Well, that
39 would be
That'd be
pretty
cool,
rad.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
that would be a great watch.
But a sub would just be like killer.
Titanium sub would be killer too,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
don't think we'll get a titanium
Yeah.
sub. I could see a 40 mil titanium Yacht-Master, but like, yeah, who wouldn't love a no-date titanium sub?
It's so interesting.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
why we haven't seen more titanium with Rolex yet, and I feel like we're waiting for it.
It's a very slow roll on
It
their
is.
end, yeah.
It is. That
And a
would be
strange
interesting.
one too. You've got like the deepest diving, most professional thing, and then you've got like the most tool-oriented execution of their like dressy luxury sports watch.
Right.
Like if someone said, okay, it's the deep, you know, the deep sea's gonna get titanium, and then what's the next collection? I would not have guessed the Yacht-Master.
I want titanium on an Explorer.
Oof.
I think that would be really nice. I think it fits. It would just be a great watch. Rolex, Titanium
yeah.
Explorer.
Well, how about just a white dial even? A white dial Explorer
Yes.
1, you know? Or even a solid gold one. These are like very little
Whoa.
changes, but think about the Explorer 2. Since the second generation of it, there's been white or black,
Yeah.
and yet
Right.
the Explorer 1, which has a much longer history, Rolex's first sports watch, black.
Yeah.
It's the only color it's ever been off.
White would be fun. I
Yeah.
mean, come on, I'm still kind of not over the fact that they did it in two-tone. That was kind of a shock. So if we're gonna
Yeah.
add to the
If
shock
you have
value,
a gold deep sea, like,
true.
yeah, why
It's
not?
overdue, right? I mean, like you said, it's black. It's been black forever.
Yeah.
They did make
would-
some white dial 1016s and 16s.
Yeah, this is true.
few.
There are, yeah, but I mean the
But
same way
still
that there's
not
like
like
steel
wide.
dates,
Right,
yeah, not
yeah.
formally recognized
Yeah,
by
true.
Rolex.
Yeah,
I like
that
a
would be a good one.
You
And I could
mentioned,
see
though,
Rolex doing that.
a Titanium Explorer too.
Yeah,
Now
Titanium
that-
Explorer 2 would be cool. And if they brought it back to 40 millimeter, that would be.
It wears really, really large for a 42 millimeter
It does
watch.
wear large for 42.
And I think everyone would kind of prefer a truncated size, but I don't know if they're going to go exactly back.
I doubt that.
No, maybe 41, just
But you
bring it
never
in line
know.
with the
So
rest
at
of the
least you
stuff.
guys are putting this into
Yeah, I guess
the world of.
they did the
art.
puzzle, so no one expected that, right?
That's a good point. I expect to see more dials from Rolex. I always see dials from Rolex, right? Like that's one of the things I love about them, even through history. You know, they always had the cool dials, the tapestry and the linen and the Jubilee and the wood and the
palm.
stone. I mean, we could go on and on. The palm dial,
Right.
One of my favorites recently was the. You guys know? I know you know.
Oh, the
Your favorite?
motif dial or whatever?
Yeah, the
that one's
Oh,
cool.
fluted
fluted
motif.
motif.
I like
Yes,
that a
the
lot, yeah,
fluted
too.
motif
You
was
want to
so
know what
good.
my favorite was? That Eisen Kaisel.
The stone.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I am a stone dial fan. I think that those
That was really
can be
neat.
really fun. Some of them don't necessarily hit so well with me, but I enjoy the variety that they offer, and obviously it's that kind of prestige and little extra bump up with something.
Well, with 80 years for the Datejust, maybe we'll see
Yes.
a fun dial. You know, it's 1945. We're at 80 years of date windows on watches, so
Maybe they'll tap back to tapestry. I would be happy with that.
Yeah. They,
yeah, maybe some type of Jubilee dial of sorts to, you know, or some update to the Datejust, but they're not going to ever change the Datejust too much. It just is what
Pretty
it is. They
perfect.
can add options, and I think that's what you bring up dials. It's an easy way to add a flavor that can last for a short amount of time and disappear without cardinally changing the collection.
Yeah.
Like the Celebration dial, that is overdue to be discontinued from the Oyster Perpetual
I think
collection.
this is a good segue to discontinues. You guys
Yeah.
brought that up last year, and it did not happen.
I'm
Are
sticking
you
with
bringing
it.
this
I'm gonna
back?
double down this year.
Double down
Yeah?
again, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a celebration. How many years can a celebration be happening?
I do. I
want to
will
go to
admit-
this party.
I will admit, though, I think that watch dial, or the watch and the dial, has picked up a little bit of more fanfare in this extra year that it didn't leave the catalog. I do feel like people genuinely are loving on it a little bit more. I think it's become a little bit more wearable in that design. I mean, it's a lot of different colors, but there's something that I've seen it a lot more also. So
It's fun. People like fun. They don't want something too serious. Just bringing it back to the dials, I wanted to bring up if they brought back like a waffle dial.
oh,
That
waffle
would be-
dial.
like a honeycomb waffle dial. That would be super cool.
If they did
On,
that
like-
to revive the Milgauss, would be
Yes.
lovely.
That would be
But what
sick.
model would you want to see it on?
I mean, an OP would be cool. Like something simple, or like an Explorer.
Yeah, that's a great dial.
Yeah,
For them to
something to
redo that one would be
differentiate
nice.
just the endless range of black Rolex sports watches.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's black, black, black applied markers. Yeah, give one a little texture.
Exactly. I mean,
That's
they
fun.
did it in the vintage stuff, in the early stuff. Not too common, but if they brought back that detail, it could be cool.
That'd be a nice surprise.
from the discontinueds, I kind of was taking a page out of your like 1 year book. Look, your victory lap has happened. I do think the all gold deep sea is done. I think it's gone this year.
Would it be a one and done then? Is that just 1 year or 2 years?
1 year?
One.
Yeah, 1 year. They can't have done that. They haven't even all been delivered yet at this point.
No, I know.
I haven't even
but-
seen one in person yet. They look cool.
All right, what do you
I'd
guys
like
think?
to try it on.
What do you think about this? The left-handed GMT.
Well,
I could see that
See it
leaving.
go?
Yes,
And then coming in with another one to replace it.
they could come in with another one to
Do you think
replace
they'd
it.
stay on the GMT, or do you think they'd apply something crazy to a different line?
I don't know. I could just see that watch. I mean, it's very core Rolex, but it's also very unique. It has the green and black bezel, and it's a
Right.
left-handed configuration, right? So somehow it's simultaneously like very core Rolex and also very outside the box Rolex.
Yeah.
And you know, it's been around for a couple years, and being left-handed, I think, does kind of limit it. I know some people who like the look, but kind of sign out because it's left-handed. It's a deal killer for some people. For me, I would prefer right-handed configuration. I would love to see that, by the way, like on that with that green and black bezel on a GMT.
That'd be neat.
But I would wear it either way, but I could see it being something that is here for a little bit and
Yeah.
then kind of moves on.
Or on the topic of GMTs, how many years have
Yeah.
we been hearing the whispers of they're going to discontinue the ceramic Pepsi and replace it with the Coke? I feel like we are in several years now of saying that.
Who knows?
What maybe will happen, maybe on obviously the precious metal side first, but if like a white gold Coke would be sweet. I think we all could have been
would be
saying
pretty
that for at
sweet.
least 2 or 3
I
years
was gonna say
now.
we've been saying it for
Yeah.
a long time. I'm not going to say it because I know that, you know, I'll jinx it. It won't happen.
I'm sorry,
but
guys, I
I'm
put it into the
officially waiting
world.
for that every year, right? I mean, it's got to be coming.
Things I'm waiting for: a return of the Yacht-Master II now.
Yeah.
I've heard that in 2023, Rolex had filed a patent relating to an advancement of the mechanism, make it more intuitive to use. Obviously, nothing was acted upon that because the collection doesn't exist right now, but I would love to see a return of the Yacht-Master II, something no one asked for except me. But I would love to see a return of that watch, and if it does, bring it back in full yellow gold as Rolex intended it when
Or
it made
titanium, right? While we're getting wild.
It's the Yacht-Master. Keep your titanium
Yeah.
for your deep sea diving. I'm here to drink champagne
I
on my
agree.
boat.
I agree.
That's fun. Do you think Milgauss has any moment this year?
Who knows?
I think it'll be a little while. I would love
Yeah.
to see it. You know, I'm a huge Milgauss fan. I think it's gonna be, you know, they're gonna let it build a little bit before they
Yeah.
bring it back. I just hope when
agree.
they bring it back, it's something really good and
Yeah.
you know worth the wait.
I
Maybe the
always-
waffle dial, like he says.
That would be insane.
Like to see
with
a
a
wa-
landing bolt. And
Yeah.
Smooth bezel
Or
or,
even
a
if-
rotating bezel would be insane.
Oh yeah, that would be
Even
really
if
good.
Rolex doesn't do the vintage throwback things, let Tudor do them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like if Rolex isn't going to do the waffle dial or like the Explorer dial sub, let Tudor do that. I think
Right.
we could all appreciate like a $3,000 Explorer dial Pelagos.
That'd be cool.
I would be all in.
Probably be easier to get too than the
Yeah.
Rolex too.
I was also thinking I was wearing this because it gave me some inspiration. Maybe they'll offer the Daytona on the Jubilee. Back in the day, you could.
Whoa.
We do see them, fairly often on Jubilees. I think at the dealer you could like switch it at the time
Mm-hmm.
if they wanted. But the new one, I've seen people put a Jubilee on.
Yeah, swap it on.
Pretty cool.
It looks good.
That'd be a fresh
It does look
offering.
good.
That would be kind of interesting.
It would be interesting.
I mean, it would definitely make it a little more like pop more and make it a little like shinier, fancier looking. But I think it would be a good look.
I would not
And,
hate it.
and Jubilee is really pretty popular now, especially with the GMTs.
It is, and it's becoming more common for Rolex to offer it in both configurations.
Yeah.
So like the GMTs you can get in both ways. It just kind of makes sense
Yeah.
in many instances. Datejust for years you can get them in both ways, but it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people object to the bracelet styles more frequently than what they object to little details on
Yeah.
watches, and giving people two very different styles within a collection as iconic as the Daytona just makes sense, other than Oyster Flex, and then you're committed
Right.
to that price point. But look at the Skydweller. Some people didn't like the Skydweller on an Oyster. They thought it just looked too big, too like
Yes.
the Jurassic Park version of like a Datejust. But then you put it on a Jubilee and you're like, well, actually,
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm on board with
That
this.
was one of my favorite offerings of the Jubilee.
The Jubilee and the
Yeah,
Skydweller.
I was
Yeah.
really happy with that. I also think the dial options updating a bit.
The green is
the
nice.
green was.
Yeah.
And it's something
Next
Rolex
level.
can do. Rolex can, they like to change configuration slightly and
Totally.
sizes slightly,
Right.
these little subtle things, and it's something that they could absolutely do. I would like it. I like
Two-tone
it.
Ever-Rose Daytona on Jubilee.
Oh wow.
Because that's Rolex. They won't give you exactly what you want. It'll be like
Yeah.
Daytona on Jubilee,
Scared.
yeah, but it's two-tone Ever-Rose only.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay.
Okay.
That is true.
Gotta wait
That's
3
true.
years.
That's so fun. I don't know what I feel as far as Watches and Wonders. I know you're attending, so you'll kind of be boots on the ground and taking it all in. I know we'll definitely be reaching out and checking some of these predictions to be like, oh my gosh, can you believe it? So something here that we have spoken about will have some iteration of coming to life. I'm sure.
We'll
I'm
see.
sure of it. I am curious though, what do you guys think is on the horizon for Rolex from a new novelty perspective, even from a discontinuation? We're always curious what you guys think. These are kind of just our opinions or our hopes
course,
and wants. So I know there's a lot more to discuss about this, but I love being back with you guys. I love getting the chance to talk Rolex. I guess this is kind of my last platform. Is there anything from an industry-wide perspective you want to say, or we feel good at where we're at?
I feel pretty good with where we're at in
Okay.
Rolex, yeah.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else.
It's exciting. This is our Super Bowl. This is our Christmas. This is
Yeah.
kind of what we wait
It's our
for, and then
Hanukkah, yeah.
we're
Yeah.
waiting. Sorry, yes, all things considered. It's that exciting time of the year, and honestly, it takes a whole year for us to get back and start to chat it up
Yeah.
again.
And it is interesting that why Rolex Predictions, obviously Rolex is like the most famous luxury brand, but like it is interesting how we discuss these more than we talk about other brands' novelties for the year, who arguably make more radical departures with
Absolutely.
their catalogs when they release new watches. Rolex, we're talking about like maybe material or color, maybe they will do this.
We're
in
talking
this
about
metal.
changing a bracelet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, this isn't such, they are the exception to the rule in every single thing as it relates to watches. And so it is so interesting to talk about this company, this nonprofit technically, that operates at a glacial pace, because they can do whatever they want. So what actually are they going to do? And sometimes it's underwhelming, and then sometimes you get a gold deep sea the
Yes.
morning of Watches and Wonders, and we're all just scratching our heads and, in my case, applauding through laughter.
Nonetheless,
something like that.
I know it will be a fun year, so Ripley, stay safe while you're traveling, and we're excited to kind of step back and discuss what actually came to be at Watches and Wonders 2025. So
Wow.
be sure to check for a video then. Otherwise, thank you guys for joining me. We'll be back again soon, so be well, everyone.